Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where women from every walk of life come together to break barriers, embrace their power, and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Vicki McDougall, and each week we explore inspiring stories, actionable strategies, and empowering conversations to help you step into your confidence, amplify your voice, and create a life without limits. No matter where you are on your journey, this is your space to grow, thrive, and become unstoppable. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. I am here today with Hollie Eaddy. Thank you for joining me today. I so appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so happy you are. We really got into a deep conversation the last time we talked, and I love the name that you have given your business, Heal With Hollie. I think that that's beautiful. I think that that is very comforting. So I would like you to share a little bit about your business and what you do and who your clients are, and then we'll go into your story as well.
Okay. Well, my business is a hypnotherapy business, and I am a clinical hypnotherapist. I help with just about anything you can imagine. Hypnotherapy is a really broad modality that helps with so many things from normal habits like smoking or biting your nails or even weight loss. But also, I think a lot of times people don't realize that hypnotherapy also helps with trauma and PTSD, pain management, a variety of things. But my favorite thing to do is help empower women, is to help them remember who they are before the whole world buried them under all the responsibility, all the
Yes.
roles we have to play. And that is what I'm very passionate about.
And I think, when we connected, that was our what brought us together, that want to help women see their worth, see that the power that they have inside them, that, like you said, may be covered up from, all of the other experiences and things that they've gone through. But, um, you know, hypnotherapy is so interesting to me. So when you do hypnotherapy, do you also do, like, like to be able to go back and maybe you don't remember things in your past? Do you do that too? Like, I don't know enough about hypnotherapy, only about what I've researched, and I do a meditation with hypnosis every night. And I really, really, really have found things changed for me since I started doing that.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about, that.
So we can help you find things that you've lost just simply by talking to the subconscious and saying your hand's going to remember where you laid it. Your mind's going to connect back to the body. But as far as like repressed memories, we don't actually uncover repressed memories. Think of it like this: we can go in and help heal a wound of what you think might have happened. If you were out in your garden gardening and you stuck your hand in the dirt and it got cut, you need to go in and clean it out and heal it. You don't need to know what cut it to heal it.
Right.
So, a lot of times when the brain has suppressed memories, it is because the brain knows that you're not ready for that memory. Or perhaps you just have a feeling that something may have happened, right?
Right.
But we can work around the feelings of what you think happened. And sometimes people do remember things, but it's not, we don't actually go in to uncover the memory because we can
Okay.
work with the recovery or the healing without knowing the exact cause. Now, it is great if you already have a root cause, okay, this happened
Hmm.
to me. Then of course that's really helpful, but it's not necessary to have to be successful with hypnotherapy.
That's good to know because I didn't understand, right? So you hear things and I mean, I'm not a big, oh, let's read it on the internet and understand. I would rather speak to someone who doesn't get the lowdown and understand it fully rather than just guessing and seeing what's real and what isn't real, right? Because you don't know.
Yeah,
And I appreciate that because I
right.
really didn't. I know the difference that it makes me feel just for my sleep and how well I sleep and how like it's amazing. It really, really is. It's really helped me that way.
That is the biggest thing. Hypnotherapy regulates that nervous system. And we don't know what a regulated nervous system is because we walk around stressed out, going 100 miles an hour, keeping busy. So, the biggest thing that people notice with hypnotherapy is, oh my gosh, I'm so calm. I can breathe. I can think clear. Clarity comes, right? And restful
Mhm.
sleep. Restful sleep is a byproduct of hypnotherapy for everyone.
That's just amazing though how our bodies can play tricks on us, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know what we don't
Yeah.
know, and then you figure out and that simple steps to take will help you in your everyday life of being more calm, more centered, more empowered because you don't have all of this
Yeah.
going on in your head. That's crazy. That's
Exactly.
wild.
And it is. It is amazing. Just grounding you back in your foundation of self-worth
Yes.
because we all have worth, and just grounding you back on that foundation and
Mhm.
calming that nervous system makes you feel like a whole new person. It really does. It puts things so into perspective.
Yes, that's beautiful. And for anyone listening, please know that all of Holly's information is going to be in our show notes because she's going to be sharing some interesting things with us today. And I just want you to know you will be able to get a hold of her. Um, let's talk about what led you to this journey of doing what you do now. What brought you here? Like what, you know, we this is called the art of being unstoppable because I truly believe we are unstoppable. And I believe with the proper tools and strategies and the way we get to choose to be, we can be unstoppable. But it's not in the easy times sometimes. It's in the what I like to call a shitstorm. It's when life has thrown it at us and we don't know what to do. That's when
Right.
we can learn how to be unstoppable. So, what is a little bit of your story, Holly?
Well, it started, let's see, how many years was that ago? Near 30 years ago. And
Okay.
I was in a very abusive relationship in a marriage. I was pregnant with my fourth child, walked out, was done, had enough. And from there, I went into domestic violence. I went back to college, domestic violence counseling. From there, I moved more on into therapeutic work. And then in my 50s, I discovered hypnotherapy and went back to college again to become a hypnotherapist when I saw the results it was having. But along the way, if I had never been through that domestic violence relationship, I wouldn't have wanted to help domestic violence victims. And that was something that I was very passionate about. I was in that field for many, many, many years. And it takes a lot out of you, though. It takes a lot out of you, but
Oh,
the lives that you touch along the way it's worth it.
but a question that I have for you is being a victim of domestic violence, being a part of a relationship with someone that you had children with a man that, did wasn't what you thought and you went through it. How hard must that have been to then sit on the other side of someone sharing in the same things? And I know that we are best at what we know that we've been through, and I know that. But that is so raw and vulnerable, you having to be vulnerable with someone and ask them the questions and relive it almost every time. How hard must that have been?
It was incredibly difficult at first, but I will say the training in itself was healing. And my marriage was very physically abusive, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, financially abusive, sexually abusive. And he was not only abusive to me, he was abusive to my children. My story is very unique. He actually, um, it's just a small town politics. And
Mhm,
after going to court 6, 7 times and he could never get custody, I moved. And when I moved, he went to court, even though I sent a registered letter. Of course, this is way back, you know, sent a registered letter giving an updated address after he showed up and tried to literally steal the children. He got a temporary open ended court order of custody for the children. And he took the kids, and pretty much I did not see them for 14 years,
mm,
even though the court had awarded me custody every single time that we actually went to court. Now, they endured a lot of abuse along the way as well. But even though that happened to me, even though I didn't want to live anymore, I didn't want to go forward in my life because my whole identity were my children. And I think a lot of women,
oh,
we place a lot on motherhood and
yes,
we
we do.
become the mother, right? We
Yes.
lose our identity in a motherhood. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong or anything like that.
No,
But
no judgment.
then when your yeah, when your children are gone and you're then who are you? Again, who are you? And you are grieving for something that's still there. And still, I was passionate, not wanting another woman to ever have to feel how I felt.
Yeah.
But in the end, I did reunite with my children. And, you know, we had a lot to work on because of all the lies that they were told,
Mhm.
all of the things that he said to them. The one thing that they have said to me, though, Mom, was, Mom, you never said anything bad about him. But they suffered and endured a lot of
Mhm.
abuse
Mhm.
along the way, a whole lot of abuse that they're still working through. And,
Yeah.
that's tough as well, evoking a lot of outrage and even feeling like, I protected them when I was there.
Yeah.
Abused me, not my children, right?
Yeah.
But I wasn't there and there was
Yeah.
nobody protecting them. Nobody. So I was just very passionate about the fact that I did not want this to happen to any other woman. So any
No.
woman I could help, then I was going to do it. And it was it was very fulfilling. It was very healing helping these women. And there was one case that come through that was so close to my own case. And we were able to go to court
Oh, yes.
and he did not get the children. He was actually all visitation was removed from him. So it was rewarding in the fact that even though I was helpless
Yeah.
in my own case,
Mhm.
I was able to help others.
Yeah. And that what you just said, that sentence, even though it wasn't in my case, but I was able to help others, is what unstoppable looks like. You didn't stop. You didn't, yes, it was hard. I can't even imagine what you went through in those 14 years. I can't even imagine. I'm sure most women can't. And that's not a bad thing, but knowing that you are
Yeah.
someone that has been there and been through probably some of the worst abuse imaginable, and to be able to stand for women is a remarkable thing. It is remarkable. You know,
Thank you.
you had said something about helping women discover who they are, and that is what my mission is about as well, is helping women discover who they get to be. And that's not just in the sunshiny days, that's in the lowest of lows. And when you can center that, when you can really know who you are, you can be unstoppable. So how do you help them, like, get through that? It'll never be the same. I can never do this. Like, I mean, there is doubt. Everyone has doubt. How do you help them get through that?
Right. I like to say I remind them who they are or who they were before the whole world threw everything at them. I think that it's so under talked about. When women wake up in their 40s, 50s, even I'm working with women in their 70s and 80s, even who are like, how did I get here?
Mhm,
Who am I? What have I done with my whole life? There is
mhm.
honor in being a mother. There is honor in being a partner. There is
Yeah,
honor in being a sister, an aunt, right? A daughter.
yeah,
But who
yeah,
are you? Who are you
yeah,
when you strip down all of those roles and you are not performing? Who are you? And I help them layer by layer uncover everything everything that they've been told as to who they are,
yeah, yeah,
all the words that were spoken to them in childhood, all of the words that were spoken to them by whoever, mothers, fathers. I mean, that's
yeah,
a whole different story, mother wounds and father wounds. And,
yeah,
on top of relationships, especially if they've been in any type of domestic violence situation or grew up in a home where domestic violence was present.
yeah.
Words are so powerful.
Oh,
So I helped them discover, what were your desires before you were covered up? Who were you? I have this one case where they had a very abusive father from the time they could remember, from as old as they could remember. So he was abusive from the time they were born. And so they lived in hypervigilance their entire life. They're in their 40s. Their entire life in hypervigilance, looking, scanning, walking on eggshells, not speaking their truth, not having a voice, not happy because they're on edge. And going back in and helping them do inner child work where we heal that we heal the version that you were back then with
yes.
your adult version, giving you what you needed that you did not get. It seems like such a simple concept, but it is
Yeah.
so incredibly powerful.
Oh,
And I this one particular case said to me, you know, I remember little flickers of who I was when I was 5 years old. And I couldn't be her my whole life, but I can be her now. I can be this person that I want to be now, and it just changes their lives. They
yeah.
come alive. You remember your desires again, the things you want to do.
That person is in there. That is in there. It
Yes,
is inside of you. And it is about allowing yourself to be healed from all of that. Like, and it's possible. We want people to know this, that anything is possible. And, reach out to Holly, reach out to me. But there's help
yes,
out there, there's support. And I always say we can love you through it. Like, it's not easy. The first step is going to be the hardest. But when you have support of other women, and, you know, it's like you couldn't heal all of what happened to you and then lose your children. You could not possibly do it all at once, but
right.
you went through it, and you will be there and you will support your children through their, you know, journeys as well as other women. because you can speak to the pain and you can support them through it. What do you think is the hardest thing for women to choose to do when it comes to themselves? Whether it doesn't need to be domestic violence, it doesn't need to, but it just
Yeah.
in for us as women, what do you feel that that is?
To sit and do nothing, because women's identities are so tied to productivity. If you aren't being productive, you're lazy. You're not, there's always something that needs to be done.
Mhm.
So I think the hardest thing for women is to learn to allow themselves to sit on the couch and do nothing, not fold laundry while you're watching the movie, not cut vegetables while you're,
Yeah.
talking to a friend on the phone, to actually just sit and be. And that is something I'm really big on teaching clients is it is so important to know that you are worthy of rest. You are worthy of taking a break. You are worthy of doing nothing. Because here's
Yes.
what we do, we end up in procrastination, which
Mhm.
freezes us. So we end up in that freeze mode, right?
Yep.
Which is just killing time when we could actually enjoy just being. We could actually say, "Hey, I'm going to sit down here for an hour and just rest, flip through the
Mhm.
TV, read a book, whatever it
Yeah.
is." That is so important. And it's not only important for women, it's important for those around them. If you
Yeah.
have children, they're watching you.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
telling them if they're worthy of rest or not. You're
Yeah.
modeling
Absolutely.
because they do what you do.
Yeah, that's so true. I saw something about that on Instagram today. I was scrolling and I saw something about these things that, on one side of the frame was a father, a son, and a mother, and the father was yelling and there was all this commotion. And then on the other side, the father was handing the wife flowers, and so was the son. So it is modeled. And that's
Right.
the thing that you're saying is our children live and learn by what they see every day. So when they see it, one parent can't be the fixer of everything. We can't. And the one
Right.
thing that I heard you say that your children have still said to you is, you never said bad things about him. And that in itself is huge because we all
Yeah.
fight to be right. Right. And, oh no, I'm right. And he's wrong. And, and especially when he's taking your children from you.
Yeah. Yeah. But the fact remained that was their father. And one day they were going to have to decide, was it okay for them to be in a relationship with him? And that's
Mhm.
not my right. That's not my place to skew
Mhm.
that, even though it would have been facts. I could have said a lot of facts, right?
Mhm.
But it wasn't for me to discuss who their dad was to me.
Right.
It was for them to decide who their dad was for them.
You're a pretty remarkable woman. You
Thank you.
really are. You really are. You help people and you've helped them coming from a really hard place that you lived in your life. And you got through it and you literally changed people's lives despite it. And that is beautiful. It's not easy, and I know that. I know we still can feel those wounds. We can still feel those, but when we are healed and like you said, when you allow yourself that rest and that quiet, we tell ourselves what we need. Our body, our mind, we communicate with it. But when we're so busy and in the noise all the time, you can't do that.
Right. Right. You absolutely can't. And even though all the years I did domestic violence and helped all those women, I still had wounds
Mhm.
that I didn't even realize until I discovered hypnotherapy and realized, "Oh, okay, so I still can talk about this and I'm not affected emotionally, but it's affecting my life." And that was the reason I went back to college. I went back to college realizing I lost 135 pounds through hypnotherapy, shredding layers and layers and layers of emotional weight physically on my body that I was carrying because our emotions are stored in our body. And it
Wow.
didn't matter what I did, you know, until I let that go, my body was not going to release it. And it didn't. And once I finally just took a breath for the first time, probably in 50 years that I could remember,
Right.
then it was easy and the weight started coming off. And I was more whole. I knew what I wanted. And like I said, one thing I love to tell women too, it is you are never too young or never too old. You are never too old to go and follow your dreams.
That's it.
Because if you would have told me 30 years ago I was gonna go to college in my 50s, I would have laughed, right? For
Right.
what? But it was what I wanted and I did it.
Yeah. And you've changed people's lives because of it,
Yeah,
right? Like, it's a beautiful thing, Holly. It really is. Healing with Holly, like, that is definitely fitting. And you have set this up for people to be able to, no matter what's holding them back, you can step through it with them. And that's a really empowering thing. Thank you for what you do.
you're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it. And thank you for being here and you being raw and vulnerable and honest and sharing your story. I know that it, regardless of how long ago it was, it still can bring things up. And I know that, and I appreciate that you did that. But to look at where you've come from, like you said, if you could have asked me 30 years ago, would I have gone back to college? Absolutely not. And you shed over 130 pounds. Like, good Lord, woman, that's remarkable. I love your story. Like, thank you for sharing. And please, if you're listening to this and you feel like there's somebody out there that needs to hear this or you need that help, please reach out to Holly or me. I can hook you up with Holly, whatever it looks like, but please don't be afraid to take that step because you've heard Holly's story and you can see what she could do and what is possible. So please know that it's possible for you too. I do appreciate you, Holly. Is there anything that you would like to share with the listeners before we sign off? Or do you,
Just that, never think that your dreams are unimportant. There is always still time to follow them. And if you're at that point in your life that you were like, who am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? The answers are there. They're in there. They're in there and they will come.
say well? Thank you for that. Thank you everyone for listening today. And please like and share this episode and share it with your friends because someone out there needs Holly's help and we want to get it out to as many women as we can. So thank you again, Holly, and thank you for listening, everyone. Have yourselves a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your power is limitless. If you love today's conversation, subscribe, share it with the women in your life, and leave a review to help more women discover their unstoppable selves. I'm Vicki McDougall, and I'll see you in the next episode because your journey to unstoppable starts now.